mean, how obnoxious can you get? Hi guys, my name is Laura. Thank you for coming. Today we're going to be talking about, I feel like everyone's already heard about him. They're just kind of like trying to ignore the fact that he even exists because he's a disgusting human being. And that is Onision, who I will be calling Onion Boy in this video because he's a freaking onion. So, I don't even know where to start with this because this guy, he's just such a pig. And, like, there's so much to say about him. You know, obviously recently there's been a lot of girls coming out and just, like, kind of exposing Onion Boy for, like, who he is and talking about the grooming situation, about pretty much borderline rape. Like, I know a lot of these girls said stuff like, he waited till we were 18, until I was 18, to do the naughty. But at the same time, when they would talk about it, they'd say something along the lines of, like, he had intercourse with me, not we had intercourse. It was that he wanted it. And I feel like that's really telling in a situation. Like, if someone doesn't even really need to think about it before they say, he did this with me, not we did this together. It's also really disgusting because obviously that meant either he didn't get complete consent or maybe she wasn't comfortable with it, but she went along with it anyway. And the way Onision is, I could really see him scaring someone into doing something with him just because he's a nut job. Aside from that, we've got Kai, and with Kai, I felt really bad for her at first. I'm gonna refer to Kai as they because I'm not really entirely sure by the pronouns that they go by, so I'm just gonna say they. I have always really kind of felt that Kai was a victim of the abuse as well, but eventually, I don't know if he brainwashed them into, like, participating in the grooming, or if it kind of happened by accident, or if Kai likes doing it themselves after being abused by Onision for so long. But it also wouldn't surprise me if they were both narcissists, because at this point you couldn't convince me that Onision isn't a narcissist or a sociopath. Like, there are just too many signs of narcissism with this guy. Like, in his books, it's so blatantly obvious because he refuses to take criticism from anybody. Even, like, professional editors who have reviewed his book on the YouTube platform, like, he refuses to take any criticism for his writing at all, even though it is awful, and it's borderline fan fiction level, if even that. He blatantly self-projects into his stories. Like, you could tell that any of the characters inside of his books are him. They're just, like, placeholders. But just the blatant fact of all of these things in his book, all of the things that make that book a book, is obviously just about him, and it's very narcissistic. He has absolutely no empathy for anyone else, and when he does, it's very, very, very fake. And I'm not saying, I actually do know a narcissist, and they're very aware that they have that issue. They don't naturally have a lot of empathy. Like, that's just the way that their brains are. And they work really, really, really hard to try to be empathetic, to try not to be victim to their own mental disability, to their own disorder. But with Greg, he just runs with it. He just fucking goes with it. And he manipulates people, especially, like, going after young girls. Like, everyone knows how impressionable a young girl can be, especially when he started, I believe when he was grooming Shiloh, she was like 14. And let me tell you what, a girl at 14 is not even, like, equipped to deal with a relationship, let alone, like, a man who knows what the heck he's doing when it comes to manipulation. Like, when I was 14, I was easily manipulated, and I'm not saying that everyone is like that, but for the most part, you're too young to be able to stop and think, hey, maybe this person doesn't have the best intentions, or maybe this person isn't as nice as they seem to be. Or maybe there's some sort of, like, alternate motivation to this. Because, I mean, when you think about it, why would how old is this guy? Like 40-something? 30? I don't fucking know. Just this older man. Why would this older man come onto your Twitter and DM you unless he had bad intentions for you? It just doesn't make sense to me. This kind of thing really ticks me off because I take things like child abuse and sexual abuse and just abuse in general, manipulation. I hate all of it, and it really ticks me off that someone knows exactly how to manipulate and exactly how to work the damn system to be able to get this kind of, to be able to do this kind of thing for as long as he's been doing it and not get caught, or be able to brainwash them or make them fear him enough to not come forward. And that just goes to show how much of a pinball this guy is. Like, he's freaking ridiculous. And the fact that we know about this, that Chris Hansen knows about him, but YouTube themselves are acting like he doesn't even exist, that is something that is completely and utterly irresponsible on YouTube's behalf, because a lot of their rules are in place to protect people. They're just giving him this platform to basically reel people in. And I have no idea why he started making videos in the first place. I think it's probably because he feels like the world needs to hear his voice and they need him in order to survive, because that's kind of how narcissism works, and that's also how he works. Like, there's just so much of his personality, so many things that he has said and so many things he's done that makes me believe that he thinks that the world cannot live without him, which isn't true. And I'm not saying he should kill himself, that's not what I'm going for here. I'm just saying that he thinks the world can't function without him, that the world is so fucked up, it is so messed up that we can't function as a society if we don't have our good friend, the Onion narcissist boy, to help us out. And I really wish that I could, like, insert little videos here and there to kind of, like, prove to you what I'm saying, or be able to, like, articulate what I'm saying a little bit better, because I'm not the best at articulation. But he has been copy striking people whenever they use pictures of him, or even, like, 5-second clips from his videos. He just strikes them immediately, and that really goes to show how much of a dick he is, because this falls under the fair usage. It's all fair usage. We're not like people who make videos about him and they use little bits of his videos in their video to, like, add a little to it. They're not, like, outwardly ripping him off or anything. They're not using, like, half his video or all of his video. They're just using, like, pieces. And the fact that he goes out of his way to find these people and just strike them and strike them and strike them and strike them is ridiculous. You are on YouTube. You are, I don't want to say it, but I mean, you are not an influencer here, but you have a platform, and you are subject to being ridiculed or being judged, just because that's the way that the world works. And even after all of that, you've also got the videos he was making before about let Onision rate you, what does Onision think of your body, how old does Onision think you are, and it was just really disgusting. Like, I remember being, like, 13 years old and watching some of those videos, being like, you know, this doesn't seem right. Like, even 13-year-old me was like, you know, that don't sound good. You know, like, if a 13-year-old can think about that, why isn't a 29-year-old thinking about that? Why isn't he being responsible and taking care of people on this platform? It is your job to protect the people who watch you. Onision takes advantage of young, impressionable, easily manipulated girls. He uses his platform as a way to lure them in. He basically gets child pornography and hides it. He gathers up all these pictures, and then he makes a video about it to cover his tracks. All of those forums where he asked for these girls to send him pictures, quite obviously, I think he wanted the pictures, but then he was like, wait a minute, I need to figure out a way to kind of turn this around, that way it doesn't come back to bite me in the ass. And the way that he decided to remedy the situation was to just make videos where he was like, see, I don't think you're fat, but the fact that your stomach's kind of poking over the waistband of your pants, I think that's a sign that you need to lose some weight. Granted, well, he may not be wrong. It's inappropriate, and it's uncalled for, and no one asked you to make those videos. No one asked you to say shit like that. And whenever people accused him of doing this, he would say, well, in my defense, on those forums I would say 16 plus only. But he had no way of filtering out the 13-year-olds or the 12-year-olds or the 9-year-olds or anything like that. It was just like he put that there as like a general guideline, but everyone knows that kids these days don't listen to that crap at all because they think that they're mature enough to deal with the situation. They think they're mature enough to take care of themselves and make their own decisions, and I don't agree with that at all because they're kids. Kids don't have the fully developed frontal lobe to even think about what's happening. You know, they have too much faith in people. And especially when it came to Onision, I feel like people just naturally trusted him. And I have no freaking idea why, other than the fact that he would try so hard to come off as being honest and sincere. And I won't even bring up his Twitter, because that is just a whole completely different story, and it's repulsive. Onision is repulsive, and the blatant fact that everyone on this platform knows about him, except YouTube themselves, is ridiculous. How many people have reported his videos at this point? How many people have tweeted or written letters to YouTube and said, hey, just so you know, there's this child predator on this platform and you guys are doing nothing about it? How many people have tried to reach out and tried to fix this, but they just couldn't, because apparently YouTube has a tendency to just protect these people. They will take down channels who have they've done nothing wrong. Channels that have done absolutely nothing wrong get taken down and deleted, and yet he's still up, even though there is proof. There is blatant evidence of his behavior, of the things that he has done, and they do nothing about it. Nothing. Chris Hansen was saying there's a chance that the FBI could get involved in this, that the police could get involved, and I really freaking hope that they do, because this piece of dirt, I have never wanted to see anyone go to jail as badly as I want Onision to go to jail. I want him to rot in there, because this is ridiculous. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels like that. I'm sure that Shiloh and Sky and all the other girls that Onision has groomed or exploited or hurt would agree that they want to see him go. And to Onision, if you watch this, screw you. You are disgusting and repulsive. And I know that you aren't capable of feeling any regret or remorse or empathy for anyone other than yourself. And even that might be a stretch. And I just want you to know that as soon as your channel gets taken down, this world will become a better place. Because we can live without you. I mean, I'm getting really... thank you guys for watching. Tell me in the comments below what you think about the Onion Kid, because I'm struggling, okay? I am so ticked off about this at this point that I'm just like... I can't believe the fact that everyone knows about him, but YouTube is doing nothing. Twitter is doing nothing. Tumblr is doing nothing. Like, no one cares. And that's ridiculous. Why are we protecting him? Why are we protecting someone who preys on our children, who preys on our sisters, our nieces, our daughters, our family, our friends? Why are we protecting that? So, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys liked the video. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you. Bye.